What's up guys, JV2017 here, and today I am continuing my Fallout 4 pre-release content. Today marks only 4 days until release, and to celebrate, Bethesda has released the official launch trailer. Link below if you weren't able to see this before this video. Just a quick reminder guys, this is your #1 hub for Fallout 4 content here on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned on my channel now and when the game comes out on November 10th. And right now I'm actually announcing I'm going to be live streaming Fallout 4 right when it comes out on November 9th at 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. So check the description below, that'll show you, how that matches up with your time zone. This will give some of you guys a chance that aren't able to get it at, midnight at launch to watch me and, join me in the first opening hours of this game. Today, we're going to analyze and break down the launch trailer. First, we'll watch it without any pauses and talk about the themes and important points of this trailer, and then we'll dive a little deeper and actually pause to discuss a few things that we're able to see. Just a disclaimer guys, this isn't one of those 30-minute extreme pause breakdown videos. This is just what I see as important, and I'll mention as much as possible, but I probably won't catch everything in this trailer, so if I miss something, feel free to add it in the comments section below. Let's start by going through this trailer from front to back and talking about what's the general kind of theme, what's going on here with this trailer. And I think this trailer is all about establishing story, and it's all about the players that are involved, what everyone thinks. In the beginning of the trailer, we have our female character saying, things like everything can change even if you're not ready. And then the male character chimes in and says, this wasn't the world he wanted, but it's the one he found himself in. And now he's ready. And I think, when he says now I'm ready, that kind of refers back to the fact that our playable character, if you're a male, was in some kind of war. So he's got war experience. Maybe he wasn't ready then. Now he's ready somehow, which is kind of a very cool concept. And of course they go to war never changes, which is, classic Fallout. And so I like this. It gives us kind of an insight into what our player characters are thinking. They're commenting on the world. We know a little bit about what our characters' attitudes are towards the apocalypse and everything that's going on between those factions. And so this gives us a nice foundation for what we can expect from our playable characters when the game comes. Beyond that point, the trailer really jumps between a lot of the different factions in the game and kind of gives us a perspective on what they think. What is this faction after? What do they believe? And that seems to be the primary focus of Fallout 4. Of course, every game has a main story like this, and the main story does seem to be the power struggle between all of these factions. So we have like 4 or 5 different people narrating, giving us, what do they want? Who is their friend? Who is their enemy? What are they after? What is their purpose? We get a nice little glimpse into each of these factions. And so some of the factions that are featured are the Railroad. That's actually kind of speculation, but I believe one of them is the Railroad. Another is the Brotherhood of Steel. Again, we've seen the BOS in pretty much every Fallout game, right? Probably. I don't know about the first 2 Fallouts, but of course they've been in, 3 in New Vegas. So Brotherhood of Steel has some kind of presence in this game. It seems like a huge presence actually, so we'll talk about that. And then we also see kind of this ghoul person that shows up. We don't know what his motivations are, but he gives us a very brief insight into what he's after. And then also there's this mention of the Institute and kind of all of the mystique and intrigue around that. So we have a lot to talk about. Now that you've seen the trailer, let's go through everything one by one. After we hear from our playable characters, we get some narration from this woman who says, "Would you risk your life for your fellow man if that man is a synth?" And it presents this moral dilemma that's going to be a focal issue within the Commonwealth. A lot of people seem to be worried about this, and this woman is very, very interested in it, and that's why I think she's part of the Railroad faction. And the Railroad is derived from the Underground Railroad, which is in American history. If you're not American, you probably don't know a lot about this, but this is where certain people tried to save African American people, from slavery and, send them north, essentially. So this is kind of applied to, this post-apocalyptic Fallout world. It's like the Underground Railroad in that the Railroad faction wants to protect androids and synths that were created by the Institute. That's what we believe is going on here with the Railroad faction. So they're really kind of applying that. Of course, you could just insert, would you risk your life for your fellow man if that man were black? It's kind of like they're just, taking that out and making it synth and making that kind of idea apply to, this world, which is a very intriguing idea. I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot from the Railroad faction. Next, we get to hear from the Brotherhood of Steel, and we see this nice shot, or a couple of shots, of their giant armored airship called Pridewind, which is actually a reference to King Arthur's ship in kind of Welsh literature and whatnot. So the Brotherhood of Steel is back, and they are back in force. This commander is actually talking about the Institute. He's saying beneath the Commonwealth is a cancer known as the Institute. So obviously they are direct enemies. Before it can grow, it needs to be cut out. So this guy is all about eliminating the Institute. So this has very big story implications. I'm sure we will be seeing a lot of the Brotherhood of Steel throughout Fallout 4. And we even see some gameplay of us shooting down some Brotherhood of Steel people. So obviously, in most Fallout games, you can, side with who you want to side with. So it sounds like we can either choose to be part of their, mission to eradicate the Institute if we want to be, or we can fight against them. Our next narrator is actually a ghoul, and this is the first time we've seen a non-feral friendly ghoul talk or do anything in Fallout 4, so this is very interesting. And he gives this little monologue about how they're the real enemy, not the raiders or super mutants or the humans, the people at Diamond City, it's them. And I believe he's just referring to the Brotherhood of Steel because we just saw the Brotherhood of Steel on screen, so it makes sense that that's who he's referring to. I could be totally off base, but I think this ghoul is anti-BOS. That's just my speculation. He's wearing this red coat kind of costume, which is kind of cool. He could be part of his own faction. And also in the background, you can see Skull Alley Square, which is gonna be a location in Fallout 4. We already know about it. It's been shown in concept art before. So that's going to be a location, and we can assume that we can find this ghoul there and see what he's up to. Then we get some nice shots of Diamond City, and we have this conflict where this guy is there and kind of the security has their guns to him, and he's saying, don't shoot me, I'm not a synth, I've got a family. And I think this kind of points to the fact that we're going to have some constant paranoia, maybe all over the Commonwealth, but especially in Diamond City with synths. People are wondering, hey, are you a synth? Do I need to be worried about you? Are you evil? And so obviously the Institute seems to be the source of all of this worry because they create the synths and the androids. Again, we see our trusty friend Piper, and she's talking about the truth again. She really wants that truth. And of course, Piper is the newspaper journalist woman who runs her own newspaper called Public Occurrences. So it's probably all about current events, probably all about the conflicts. So I'm sure she'll be central to all of that. She'll know a lot. She'll have a lot of information for us in our main quest, and she will definitely present a lot of quests for us to find out more about this whole conflict. We get a brief look at some more combat with the Brotherhood of Steel, some super mutants, and kind of a tunnel. We know there's a lot of tunnels in Boston, so that'll be an interesting thing. And then a Savage Deathclaw, which is something we'll have to face out in the wild. And then we get a look at Preston Garvey again, and he says, we protect the people at a minute's notice, we decide our own future. And so again, this is Preston Garvey, leader of the Commonwealth Minutemen, and he seems to be a man of the people from this line and from what we've seen before. He's a natural leader, and he is a leader. And he's kind of anti-establishment is what I kind of garnered from this small line here. He says, we decide our own future. The people decide their own future. This, of course, goes in line with the whole, setting in Boston, the American Revolution. It's kind of like the people are the revolutionaries, the Americans, and whoever's trying to control everything is the British, of course, like maybe the BOS or maybe the Institute. We don't know who's the main kind of instigator of this, but Preston Garvey is revolutionary. He's bringing the people together. He is a man of the people. Then we get a brief glimpse of what looks like settlement defending, and we have an actual vault looking character. It looks like a female protagonist kind of defending a settlement. And then we have this horde of super mutants actually attacking it with a behemoth attacking it. So wow, that gives us kind of an insight into what settlement, defending your settlement might entail is defending it from super mutants, which are, a big threat, and then behemoths, an even huger threat. Continuing on, we get to see our sole survivor in a very irradiated area with a radiation suit, at least is what it looks like. And I believe this area is probably the glowing sea, which is something that Bethesda is referred to as one of the parts of this area that is just completely irradiated. It's just scorched earth. It's very classic Fallout 3. in that it looks depressing. The lighting, makes it look like it's a very dangerous place, and the colors as well. We can just tell that navigating this thing, you're gonna have to have, some radiation protection. As we can see, the suit is on, so this will be an interesting area to explore. Very quickly, this old lady talks about how we remain out of time, but also not lost. We're not sure what she's really referring to, so I'm not gonna speculate on that, but we do get a cool shot of glowing ones. They look very much improved. Literally, they're just full of this irradiated material, this radiation. And so that's going to be really cool to, kill these guys, see them explode, and they're probably going to be even more dangerous than they were before. We hear more from the BOS commander guy, and he's talking about his campaign and how in the end the Brotherhood will be saving humankind from its worst enemy, which is itself, apparently. So more of the Brotherhood of Steel, and I think he's talking about humans supporting synths. He's worried about humanity supporting synths and androids from the institution. So he's saying he's gonna save humanity from itself by presumably killing some of humanity that doesn't agree with him. So that'll be a central conflict, I'm sure. I'm showing you guys right now just a still of more of the railroad, and this looks like their icon to me. It looks like a kind of a lantern with a little candle light, and that would make a lot of sense for the underground railroad kind of faction. And I guess the BOS is really referring to the railroad, so I'm sure BOS and railroad will not be friends. We're gonna pause again here to look at this very cool weapon. There's a lot of cool weapons in this trailer, but this one stood out to me, and I've been reading a lot about it. Apparently it's the cryolator. That's what a lot of people think, and cryo is the prefix meaning cold or to freeze, and so we think this is a freezing weapon. Also, there's some ideas that it could be some radiation based weapons because of the little numbers for the ammo that pop up on the end of the gun. It's the same kind of style that we see on the power armor, so people think it's radiation based. We don't really know, but we do know it looks like a very cool gun. Just after that is footage of Codsworth about to buzzsaw somebody, and I kind of speculated on Codsworth's combat. It looks like he is going to be cutting people with his buzzsaw. I'm assuming this is Codsworth. It could be another Mr. Handy. It doesn't look like a Mr. Gutsy because they have a lot more going on. They have a lot more weapons, but this looks like Codsworth kind of combat gameplay. Shortly after, we have what appears to be our female sole survivor kind of exploring a vault, which is very interesting. Is this the vault that we start out with, or is this some other vault that we can enter and explore? We know in previous Fallout games, we could explore plenty of abandoned vaults. So this could go really one way or another, but this vault is very colorful. Compare this to the vaults you saw in Fallout 3. Man, this is a huge difference. So it really speaks to the color palette that will be seen in the game. We see more of the Concord power armor gameplay, but then I paused here because look at this weapon. This is a minigun with what appears to be either nails or some barbed wire wrapped around the barrel, and then a sight as well. So this really speaks to me in terms of what we can do with the weapon modding. It's absolutely crazy, and this could be useful if you're running a heavy gunner specific character with that perk and strength, or maybe you're doing some melee as well with your weapons. That's also a strength perk. So it'll be interesting to see our minigun related perk builds. Next, we get a few more screenshots related to androids and synths. So in this one, we see this robot, this android, kind of stopping a human, and that android looks terrifying. It looks like a freaking Terminator. That's a comment that I saw someone make. It really does. And we don't know what this robot's motivations are, Is it serving itself? Is it serving the Institute? We can kind of assume that the Institute is bad, but again, we know nothing about it. We only know what other people are talking about the Institute, what they are saying. So this robot could be doing a good thing, could be doing a bad thing. It certainly looks bad on the surface. And then we get a look at this other robot, which is kind of like half robot, on the top, and then on the bottom, it looks like it has less parts. And it's kind of got these eyeballs, and it also looks very creepy. And overlaying this, we have this narration saying, where's the Institute? How will I find it? And it says, you don't find it, the Institute finds you. So again, Institute, very secretive organization with, secret motives that we just don't know yet. In the closing moments of the trailer, we get to see the Pridewind BOS ship coming down. We know that's going to happen in the story somehow. And we also get to see the female protagonist say, "Let's go, boy," just like "Let's go, pal" from the male protagonist before. I thought that was very cute, very well done, and a good way to end this trailer. Let me know what you guys think. What are your immediate reactions from this trailer? What's in your brain area? I want to know. What do you think about all of the factions? How are they going to play roles in the game? Are they going to be big players, small players, all of that? Share it below. A quick reminder before we go, I am going to be live streaming the day Fallout 4 comes out on November 9th at 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you don't know what time zone that is for you, check the description below. If some of you guys can't get the game at midnight, it'd be cool if you came by and hung out with me. I'm going to be playing the first few hours. It's going to be a lot of fun, so I hope to see you there. All right, guys, today we took an in-depth look at the launch trailer for Fallout 4, and next time we will cover more Fallout 4 information here on my channel, so stay tuned for all of my pre-release content. We've only got a few videos left, and remember that this is your #1 hub for all Fallout 4 content on YouTube. If you have any ideas for something you would like me to cover that I haven't touched on yet, be sure to leave it in the comments section below. If you learned something new, remember to hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. The game's coming out in just 4 days. I hope to see you guys on launch day with more great content. Talk to you guys next time. Peace.